Welcome back to the NewsAngl, bitch. This your boy D.
Oh, that's quick and short. I was taken aback.
Very quick.
I know, it's your girl CJ.
And it is the oral sex extraordinaire. I say that because, listen, you're
call me Nelly No Gags.
Not Nelly No Gag. I hate y'all.
No, I talked to my son about oral sex just to, because I told you guys I have those conversations with him, keep him abreast and everything.
Right.
And I started laughing before I started talking about it. He was like, why are you laughing? So I was like, I know what face you're going to give me when I say this shit. Because normally, PJ don't trip about anything I say. He's pretty immune to it.
Right.
So I basically was like, all right, it's when like two people decide that they're going to use their mouths on each other's private parts or maybe some other part on your body, till their pleasure, till they're satisfied. Like,
right.
It's a thing. So he does this because he was drinking water. He goes, he gets up with a straight face and he walks out my door and he closes the door and then I just hear I hear this shriek.
Oh no.
He does this scream that's so funny and I know it's all jokes with him, but he comes back in and he was like, why are people doing that? And I'm like,
so you didn't tell him that mom was doing it? No, he didn't.
No, that's not the time to be like, your
it's not
mom's
the time.
on dick. Like, that's not the time. It's not like, no. Like, oh, your mom frequently bounces on a guy's face like it's hydraulics. Like, no.
Oh no. My God. She just let that roll out of her mouth real smooth. Just
like he does. I'm Brandy.
All right. Well, welcome back to our NewsAngl episode. We got a few things to talk about. I'm gonna start with the very obvious because everybody and their mama is talking about this. Miss Gayle King and her comment during the Lisa Leslie interview. If you guys don't know who that is, Gayle King is like Oprah Winfrey's best friend who's come up along the way. I think Oprah helped her along the way a lot
and
too.
If you don't know who Lisa Leslie is, step your WNBA knowledge up.
Yes. So apparently Gayle King was interviewing Lisa Leslie and they talked about Kobe and Gayle had said that, she had brought up his past sexual assault court case that was, by the way, dismissed. So the court dismissed it because the witness to that didn't want to testify, which I thought was kind of crazy, which is why I thought that it never really happened. I read that
there was some type of payout.
It could be a payout. I mean, either way, it was dismissed. So technically it wasn't even like conviction or anything like that. So I did kind of think that it was weird that she brought it up, but the way she asked the question, I'm paraphrasing, but she was like, does it hurt or make his legacy a little harder to talk about because of those court cases about the alleged sexual assaults? And Lisa was like, no, like that doesn't change my opinion of who I know him to be, and went on. But the biggest part about this case is the backlash that is happening with Gayle King. Our society, all the Black folks came out in pretty large amount of unison. I'm not gonna say everybody, but a large group of people have made memes about it, is busting her about it. Apparently she's getting death threats. I don't really think it's just Black people either. I think they're also Kobe fans.
What didn't help was she said what she said, so the comments and stuff come on social media anyway.
Of course.
When Snoop Dogg decided to basically call her a raggedy ass bitch, I should have never said nothing. That's when I feel like the more of it came and people decided to be like,
here's the thing.
Drag her.
That was crazy.
And so I'm gonna post. I don't know if you guys are gonna be okay. I'm gonna post Snoop Dogg's little video too. Somebody put music to it, and I had a good laugh. Somebody put choir music or something to it, and it was pretty pretty intense. But I don't know that the backlash that social media is giving Gayle is the appropriate amount of backhanded anything. Like, everybody makes fun of everybody online anymore. Nobody's safe, obviously, because I mean, look at our president and what we do to his face all the time. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, as a journalist too, her being a journalist, I think she should be aware of the consequences of anything that she asks.
Right.
Really.
Nor do I, and I don't feel like she should have made a video apologizing about it.
I don't either.
That's a personal thing for me because I'm sick of this like apologizing culture we've had for the last couple of years when I know people haven't said what they meant and meant what the fuck they said. I respect this so much more when they just stick with it like, hey, yo, boom, I said it and I meant it. And from a journalistic point of view, I don't see that there was anything wrong with what she asked. It is a legit question. I think our problem here is, as a culture, not only do we unify hard when it comes to a black man, because we do it hard with black men, not the same energy with black women, but when it comes to unifying behind a black man, we do it in droves. And that's what happened here, even with Kobe being gone. They unified. They felt like it was too soon. CJ and I talked about a lot of people still have very high emotions. They just laid him and his daughter to rest, I think today, or yesterday, technically, with the time we're recording. But saying all that to say, considering those factors, I just kind of feel like everybody was super hyped up off emotions and still angry about this death coming out of nowhere, because I think it was a heavy reminder of everyone's mortality. I think we have a bad habit of thinking people we see all the time are almost immortal in a way. Like they should only die when they're 80 and in the bed, not randomly like this, especially somebody young. So I don't feel like the backlash she's getting is fair, because you cannot like what she says, but damn, they're taking it too far to me.
I mean, have you seen some of the stuff, D? Like,
so
my thing was like, I really think people took it really far with like, there was like ones that were like house mammies and stuff. Have you seen those?
Well, yeah, they're mixing this up with the fact that Oprah decided to push through the way she did with that Michael Jackson thing, which I definitely, felt a way about too, because again, we got two dead people here.
That can't defend themselves. But here's the thing.
That can't defend themselves, and that were already acquitted, or there were payouts or whatever. But the cases are done. So what are we doing here? Like focus on someone who's alive.
Not only that, for me, I feel like a lot of it is very hypocritical from where it's coming from. Because, and I'm going to post these pics on our page mixed up with the Gayle King and Oprah Winfrey stuff, because I want to give everybody an equal opportunity to look at this from both sides. But people forget that it's not just Oprah, it's not just Gayle King that had ties with, what is his name, Weinstein? Is it Weinstein? Weinstein, right? So we go through and we're looking like, so I'm going to post these later, like, that's Puff, that's Snoop Dogg with Trump, that's like, that's Jay with Weinstein.
They were rapping about Trump all the time. Like, shit.
Y'all were in in his mansion, chilling. Ain't no telling what they doing now, too. Sorry, my focus just went out. But my thing is, like, did they forget? Like, if we were to plaster these pictures of Snoop with his hand on President Trump, or I don't even know when that's from, I have to look it up, but would people go off like that on him, though? You know what I'm saying?
Like, I feel like it would be excuses, because I feel like like you said before, society, we make a lot of excuses for what Black men do.
You do, because he is one of the main ones that I'm confused about, because he has this huge ass tie with Martha Stewart, like they have a show together, they have put out product together, and nobody had even blinked an eye, because to society, when men do things, I think people think it of more of a power move than like emotional moves. And whenever women
layer of respect on there that we don't
whenever women make these large ass moves, it's always emotional. I always hear that joke like, oh well, we can't have women presidents because they'll just start World War III. I'm like, every time I hear that, I go, nobody has ever started a war other than men.
Because I know my ass would. Like, what you say? I'll press this button right now.
Meme culture and everybody trying to be political with certain things, but then at the same time making a joke about it, has a lot to do with the whole Snoop and Martha Stewart thing. Martha Stewart got props from our society
for going to jail. Thank you.
She did some prison time. So just because she went to prison, she down, she a G. No, that's not necessarily how that works.
We don't know that lady like that.
Yeah, but that's how that happened.
See, here's the thing. That's where Snoop's like business acumen comes in, right? Because he took that, saw an opportunity, and was like, I'm gonna fucking capitalize on this shit.
Snoop's perfect on it, because again, as much as Snoop can get a lot of support and respect in the hip hop community as being down and gangster, whatever, he is so well liked and loved because of his weed activities and everything else from white society. You can have a show with Martha Stewart, because you see they ain't letting nobody else do that shit. The only two people I can think of they would have let do it is 50 Cent and T.I. Anybody else, you not finna just have no show with someone like Martha Stewart.
No, that's the thing.
Tyler Perry
not a
can't
good
do
house
nothing
nigga.
like that.
I'm saying it's so weird for me. And like, I don't know. I really think the backlash of what she said on the interview is very disproportionate to the backlash that they're getting. Like she's getting.
Yeah,
I really think it's out of fucking ballpark.
And some people even were saying
the level
that.
of disrespect is so disrespectful. Right. It's like, come on now.
Like,
you know so this is
like you can be mad about it, but calling out her name, giving death threats. D, speak up. You were cutting out.
Yeah, you're cutting out. It's hard to hear you. You're gonna have to speak up. Look at D. D.
Just the fact that she was, she's an older woman and she's doing her job.
Mm-hmm.
And the backlash was that level of disrespect from, if it's within our society, if this is within our community, you think that's appropriate? That's an appropriate way to speak to an older woman in our society? That's not cool.
In my head, I switch were interviewers, and I was like, what if Anderson Cooper had asked that question to Lisa Leslie?
Man, I was just gonna say something like that.
Or Barbara Walters.
Katie Couric. I don't know.
I don't feel like there would be this venom, but we, again, have a society that we already stem from. Nothing goes outside this house. We don't speak on each other's stuff. We don't dog each other out. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people are looking at this interview like, wow, you out here acting a fool in front of the white folks, embarrassing us, embarrassing Kobe's legacy. And that's where I feel like this kind of like knee-jerk reaction went to, like, all of a sudden everybody has to cover and protect Kobe's legacy. Kobe's legacy is going to be just fine, just like it's been since that case has been dismissed for years.
You better say that again. For real, though.
It's going to be fine, but everyone's always going to try to bring up your past when you're on a grader because he won that Oscar and they tried to bring the shit up. Because they're like, do you think it was right to give Kobe an Oscar in the middle of a Me Too moment or movement? I'm like, but he wasn't convicted.
Right. That's the thing. That part right there. Like,
but
so,
again, historically, we have a history in media and just how they were treating us on these fields and how they were forcing, it's just even slave masters forcing themselves and breaking in slaves. Like this, there's this stigma that Black men were trained to rape because they were raped. So they're not only going to rape white women, but they're going to be sexually aggressive to anybody. So it's not a hard sell that someone like Kobe Bryant, even if he wasn't Kobe Bryant, this wouldn't be a hard sell to a certain juror that he was sexually aggressive with this white girl because, white girls are submissive and they're not doing anything wrong. And I think there were too many factors in it that were working against him. Granted, had you not been fucking around on your wife, you wouldn't have been in this mess anyway, but that doesn't mean shit now.
Yeah.
The point is, he wasn't convicted. They both agreed, hey, yeah, we went in there consensual. I think the girl said something like she was bent over a chair because they are real explicit. Bent over a chair. She said it started to hurt. He was like, and she asked him to stop, and he did. But again, when this case even went on, everybody was in their 30s, and I think this shit happened when he was 24.
Probably something like that.
Who remembers that? I couldn't tell you what I was doing at 24.
Not much. I mean, so I guess from a psychological part, if it was something that was aggressive, it would be burned into your memory. But the fact that she couldn't produce all the finer details probably kind of.
Right. And only saving grace I'll give her is maybe if something happened to you at all that was like sexually uncomfortable, aggressive, you're extra sensitive to that shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That could be something too. But long story short, that man ain't go to jail. He wasn't convicted, guilty. So it's like, bring this shit up in like a biopic, not like in an interview. I think that's how some people were thinking about it.
Probably. Well, speaking of abused, let's go into Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Y'all know who that is, right? I hope.
Yeah, Amber Heard, most relevant role. She was playing Mira in Aquaman. Yeah. For anybody that's listening and doesn't know her.
Yes. So people are like petitioning to take her off the next one because the Daily Mail, the UK, I guess, media had leaked like recordings of Johnny Depp and Amber like talking about what had happened and transpired between the two of them in their relationship. And she had been saying that Johnny was the one who has been abusing her throughout the relationship. And, after that happened and they settled because he paid her off for like $7 million or some shit, he came out and was like, she was the one that was abusive to me. So now there's... Now there are tapes. Well, not tapes, I guess recordings, because we're old. We're like tapes.
Yeah, we're all like VCR. Recording.
Oh my God.
Be kind, please rewind.
Like, just I pushpin, like Brandy likes to say. I was trying to tell my 15-year-old a story about Bruce Willis and trying to explain to her who he was by saying things like Fifth Element. And like, all his other movies. And she was like, who? What? I was like, you know what? Just Google his name because it's faster. Anyway, but back to what we were saying. So it has come to like forefront that she was indeed abusive to him. And like, it sounds like she was basically saying, nobody's going to fucking believe you. Because you're a dude. I'm only 115 pounds. Nobody's gonna fucking believe.
To be fair, like he sounded high and she sounded drunk and erratic. I think they were both always.
I think they're toxic for each other, probably.
Oh man, for sure.
Because he even said after all of this, he was like, "I don't want to leave you." Like that's crazy that both of you guys are abusive to each other in some way, and neither one of you want to leave each other, but you guys are still going to court. Like I don't understand that. That is the craziest thing.
I couldn't do that, knowing we're both abusing each other. Go to court and as if I'm the main victim, knowing that I've put my hands on this person too, or whatever. Right. And maybe it wasn't just out of self-defense. I just reacted and we did this too, because it definitely sounded like they was both just consistently talking to each other crazy and putting their hands on each other.
Right.
And she felt like, from a female's perspective, most females can't beat up a man. So she felt like, oh, you didn't really get hurt, or I didn't even hit you that hard.
I think that's what she was saying. Yeah.
Things were coming out like that. And that's kind of dangerous because everybody's threshold for pain is different. So you don't get to punch me and tell me that didn't hurt.
That's what he was saying. He was like, you can't erase my reality. Like, I'm telling you that you hurt me when you punch me. And I'm like, I think that if you are a grown person, if you hit anybody in any kind of way, there's got to be some kind of pain, even if you are lightweight. Like,
right. I mean, like my old school folks just say, you keep your hands off them, they keep your hands off you. You tell everybody.
Like, have they never been hit by a baby in the face? Like, it hurts. I'm just saying.
It definitely hurts. It definitely hurts. All right. So yeah, in conclusion, she's on some crazy shit.
D,
what's the next one?
D, I know you were talking, D, but I can't hear you.
You can hear me?
Oh, now I can. What just happened?
I don't know. I was just saying, keep your motherfucking hands to yourself. Like, if you're feeling some type of way, go take a walk. Go do something.
Like, you gotta cool off. It's just, I just want to know what's going to transpire out of this, because the fact that they're petitioning for Amber to come off, because they don't want her. A lot of people don't want her in the next Aquaman movie. That's
even before this stuff came out, I didn't want her in the next Aquaman. I'm like, better, more of a reason to get rid of her. But this also goes into that toxic cancel culture we live in, because as soon as someone does something that majority doesn't like, all of a sudden they can never redeem themselves.
It's so crazy.
It's like, it doesn't matter if you tweeted it years ago. It doesn't matter if you said it yesterday. It's like, oh, you're canceled. This ain't it. And it's like, damn, can anybody like actually live? No, that's not a thing.
Story.
You see Winona Ryder just now coming back from stealing all that shit from back.
Listen. And
but you know what? She got a really good gig doing Stranger Things.
And I've never seen it. I started when it first came out, but PJ was still younger and it was freaking him out. I only got to episode like 2 or 3. He goes with his dad last summer. He watches everything and he's like, oh, you got to watch. So we're going to binge it this weekend again. So as soon as I saw the MK Ultra stuff, I said, sold. I'm into this show, right? But Winona is acting, baby. When she had them Christmas lights, I was like, girl, I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, she's good. She just fucked up.
She's really good. She left that thievery alone, D.
I know. I hope she did.
She just fucked up. That's all. But she was really good. And side note, Stranger Things. Did you know Stranger Things is actually based on a true story? So. Really? Yeah, it's based on a government-run program that went apparently dark, but we don't know the truth. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I need to start making like trailers for movies or something. We don't know.
I believe it because I like when those sheriffs started investigating in that show and they already knew what was up. Like even when they showed them surveillance tapes in season 1 and the guy was like, oh, thanks for your time and left the lab. And then he's talking to the other guy. He's like, why does it seem like you don't believe them? He's like, because that day it was raining and on those tapes there was no rain. And I'm like, you a cop when you notice some shit like that. But then that also had me like, ooh, the government can do stuff like that. They will have you thinking you saw something like that. You thinking you crazy.
What are you looking up, D?
Lucas, Winona Ryder from back in the day.
Oh my God, Jesus, that's
one of my favorite movies.
Oh my God,
now see, that's how you turn gay. You watch Lucas.
Yeah, I'm done.
And then you said I want Lucas. See how the devil works, D? Do you see?
Oh my God. Hey, next one though. Quick one before we go to our.
Stop drinking that spaghetti sauce.
Yeah, is that like a empty nut can that you're drinking something out of? What is happening?
It has my ex-husband on it, Thor.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's one of those movie cups. Got it.
Yeah, it's just a cup and it's water. Like, wow, you guys.
Okay. But no, before we go on break, D, you gotta speak louder. I don't know what's going on. Also, Joaquin Phoenix did it again at the Oscars. But this time he talked about everybody. He was saying, he talked about gender inequality, racism, queer rights, indigenous rights, and animal rights. Like he did everything. Because apparently he's been thinking about all of that. And one of the things that I thought was great was that he talked about how he was a fuck up even before this. I love that part.
And how he was giving second chances.
Yes, and second chances, because he was basically saying, I have been like, my favorite one was when he was like, I'm hard to work with. Like I have been hard to work with. I have been,
like, this is so relatable.
I was totally, he's my new go-to. I'm gonna have to like follow him on social media or something. I doubt that he has one, but I'm gonna go look. If he has like a blog, I'm gonna go read it. Like, cause I feel the same way. I think people who have harder shells on the outside and realizing that they have to like peel that for people to enter, to have other people come into your world. It's a hard thing because the hard shell is there for a reason. You had to build that shell to keep yourself protected from whatever else you thought was going on in the world. And I'm sure he did the same thing. And now that he's a lot older, because guys take a little longer to realize things. Right. But he's gotten to the point where he's like, yo, like, we really need to come together and do better shit than what we're fucking doing right now, especially around here in these award ceremonies where nobody is like recognized unless you're an older white dude. Like,
and they just recently, the last 2 or 3 years, just recently changed who they have, like, as far as Academy voters.
Of course.
And shout out to Parasite, which I think was the first what they call foreign film to win Best Picture in like 94 years.
Yeah, and then that even got backlash because people were like, I can't remember who it was, something Miller, I think. He was like, it's a black guy, and he was like, this is why we have issues here. But he was basically like dogging on them. And I'm just like, I am so confused. Like, you wanted diversity. It might not have been a black win, but it was a diversity win. And I would take that over anything. Like,
not after you watch like 2 hours of nothing but white people getting awards the same way. Like, come on.
Like, you couldn't even be happy for like another POC group. Like, come on now. Come on.
People are just so weird.
It is. But on that note, we're gonna take a quick break and we're gonna talk about a couple more things, and then we're gonna call it quits tonight. So we have a short, sweet episode for you. All right, we'll be back.
Speaking of short and sweet, I'm gonna have to go to bed.
And we're back. As you can see, we have lost Brandy. Her tired ass went to bed. I'm not even mad though, because I know she went. Sorry, I'm just laughing because I'm like, I know how she feels. Like, she went to work and then she went to another little hustle that she has, so she's been working her ass off too. So we all know how that is. But the last little couple things are updates in the news world. The Iranian attack that the U.S. had. You know how they bombed them and killed their general. And shortly after that, Iran had attacked a U.S. base, I believe, or something, right?
Yeah.
Or right outside of it or something like that. And initially, the U.S. news had reported that there were no injuries. I mean, I watched the speech that Donald Trump gave where he was like, no Americans were hurt whatsoever. Was that pretty good? Was that pretty good? Okay. I've been watching Trevor Noah, and he's been giving me pointers. He does a really good Donald too. Like, you always want to do the little, and then you just put your, like, when you put your lips out, you automatically sound like him. So I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know how good that was, but I'm gonna train myself. I'll do better next time. But so I was telling people in the beginning already. I was like, well, that's not right? I was like, because I know I bring this up a lot. I have Japanese cable in my house, and I watch the Japanese news, and they were reporting what other people were reporting, which was that there were 80 casualties on the American side. And this is on the Daily Mail, which is a UK thing. It was the Times of Israel, and on all these Japanese channels, like multiple channels, not just one. And so yesterday or today, there was actually a news article that just came out where they were talking about the Iranians actually did injure the troops, like mostly mentally or some physically. And I just watched an interview where they were like, well, initially the report was right, nobody was injured. I was like, what do you mean? And then he goes, a couple days later, people started reporting injury. I was like, so that's kind of like lying by omission, no? Like,
I don't understand how that happens. Was it so was it all mental injury or?
No, I'm not understanding it either properly, probably, but like the fact that people are saying that there were injuries, and because let me look it up, because I am just as confused about how people were attacked. So they're saying that more than 100 U.S. troops suffered traumatic brain injury. So it is an actual injury in the Iran strike. The military says the number of U.S. service members diagnosed with traumatic brain injury, TBI, stemming from Iran's missile attack on a base in Iraq last month has shot up to more than 100 people. I think the last report I read said 109. Initially, all those other than the U.S., the other media, the mass media was saying around 80. So that's not a very far off number.
That's not a far off number at all.
Right. So to me, I'm just like, did our government just pull something that China does, where they just omit information to make themselves look? That's kind of really scary if you think.
U.S. does that all the time. When you think about it, like on the grand,
I mean, yeah,
is notorious for omitting information, and it's understandable to an extent. With a lot of stuff, some certain things need to be classified, some things don't need.
I get it, yeah,
public, and I understand that, but it's like, come on.
But how do you?
And how come the rest of the world is privy to this?
That's what I'm saying. So that's my problem. Okay, so typically when it is super classified, there's not reports of it from other nations either.
Right. That's
the issue that I have. So like it's very confusing to me that everybody else knew that there were injuries, but we're just now saying, and like the guy who was talking about it, I don't know his name because I don't look that shit up. It's just the stories and the info. But he was saying, TBI, the traumatic brain injury, takes time for it to appear. So he was like, that's why the first ones weren't reported for like 2 or 3 days. Okay, but
as a result of what? What causes the
missile that attacked the base?
So is it the trauma?
I think it's the impact. Impact probably jolts the brain, and I'm probably gonna have to look it up, but I'm sure that it has something, because they're calling it an injury, so it's not a mental state; it's an actual physical injury.
Right.
So that means the missile has something to do with it. But the fact that they're saying that there were soldiers who reported it 2-3 days later, I didn't see no update 2 or 3 days later. They kept repeating the same thing where they were like, no Americans were hurt during this attack. No Americans were hurt. So to me, like, omitting this didn't help anybody, because now they got to figure out where to put these troops and how to help them, because there's more than 100 people now. Like, what they gonna do with that?
They were able to get away with that verbiage just based upon that there was maybe no physical,
like no bleeding.
Like, no bleeding. There are no cuts, no bruises, stuff like that. But
crazy.
At the same time, an injury is an injury, whether it's TBI or not. It's still an injury.
So I'm probably gonna keep this short and sweet. But speaking of injury, let's talk about the coronavirus, because I know we talk about it on the NewsAngl every week, but this update every week is like kind of crazy that we can do an update every week.
Yeah.
It has now reached, let me get the newest one up here, because I follow the updates on the world meter. So right now, oh my God, it has jumped. Oh my God, it's jumped. And I don't like the numbers. The coronavirus cases in total between all of the whole globe is at 60,376 people.
Okay,
that's a lot. That is a lot. That is a huge jump. And now, oh my God, it was at 40 something. I'll look at my screenshots. I've been taking screenshots. There's 1,369 deaths, and there's 6,066 people that recovered.
How many recovered? Say that again.
6,066 people.
Okay.
Have recovered. It has jumped, but here's the deal. In China, 59,807 people have contracted this virus, but that's just reported cases. Okay.
Right.
We got to remember that. And the change in cases in one day was over 15,000 cases in one day. Total deaths in China is at 1,367. Almost all of this is in China. So just today alone, 255 deaths were confirmed, which is crazy. And it goes on, and you can look at this. Japan's in kind of a dire danger because they've been going from like 10, 20 people they're all the way at 247 because of that damn cruise ship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The US, I think we had a couple of new people. So there's 14 cases now in the US. One new one today. 3 people have recovered. So 11 people are still either in critical condition or mild cases. It's weird because I don't know if I did talk about it initially, how China was building all those hospitals, like, just boxes with beds in it. And I was like, what? I don't remember when I said I don't understand the logistics. Like, how are they going to get doctors?
Who is going to be running these hospitals?
Okay, so that's the exact problem the news media is reporting right now. Like, literally, they're saying they don't have enough doctors, which is what I said. They don't have nurses. They don't have tech. They don't have lab. They don't even have enough gear. One lady who managed to get a video out of there, I'm sure something happened to her by now because they probably found her by now, but she managed to get a video out, and she was so upset because she was like, she was one of the mild cases that could recover probably, but she probably won't recover because now she's quarantined with a whole bunch of serious cases. Like, because so everybody with different levels of the contraction, like, of the virus, whether it's mild, severe, whatever, they're all
together
in the same place. No masks.
So there are no checks and balances when it
None.
Wow.
So and then she says there's no bathrooms in all these boxed little hospitals. They're 200 meters away outside. So I'm trying to figure out how somebody with a severe case of this is going outside to use the bathroom.
Like, and what we mentioned in the last episode is that you could transmit this.
Oh my God, yes.
Fecally.
Yes.
So if there's nowhere if there are no restrooms and you can't wash your hands, there's fecal matter everywhere, whether you can see it or not. There you go.
My mind is so blown. I mean, it is, but it isn't, because I was like, this is probably going to be the way things happen. And, people are like, oh, the mortality rate is like, the death rate is at like 2%. And I've been telling Rob it's 25. I've been telling him because I was looking at the graphs and I was like, everything is exponential. And then today, the fact that it went up 15,000 cases in one day, because it has been steadily, it was like, just as an example, if you guys don't know what exponential means, like, you can take a number like 10, the next day it'll be 20, the next day it'll be 40, the next day it's 80, the next day it's 120, like, it keeps going, right? So yesterday we were at 40,000. The day before that it was like 30 something. As a matter of fact, let me pull it up, because today we're at 60,000 people, which is absolutely insane. I'm not convinced that they are telling us the truth to begin with. I don't even think these numbers are right. I really don't. I have a hard time believing them. Like, seriously? Let's see. So we're at 60,000. So yesterday we were at 45,000 cases and then some. Before that, the day before that, they were at 40,000 cases. So steadily it was like 3,000 to 5,000 cases, and all of a sudden it went up 15,000 cases. That's because if there's one person who has it, who gives it to 2 people, those 2 people can give it to 4 people, and those 4 people can give it to like 16 people at once. And so it just keeps building really fast. And there's another way this is spreading. It's airborne and very slow. not like a regular. So there's 3 ways to get it now: airborne, fecally, and by touch, like being in the vicinity. Like, how insane is that? And you know how people were like joking, like World War III, blah, 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 when Iran struck the US and US struck Iran?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this was World War III. I feel like this virus got fucking weaponized and it went to where it was supposed to go to, and there were other casualties, like just like any other war. It was just not meant for people to know about it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
And it went to the place that it went to based on the population density.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I also have talked to other people, like just a couple of the people who are into the, you know, conspiracy theories or critical thinking is what I like to call it.
Nice.
I just feel like conspiracy theory is such a fucking rude way to call us, because it's like, you know, we've talked about it, like 9/11 happened. All of us were like, yo, it's an inside job. And it took 15 years for people to fucking understand it was an inside job.
Now people joke about it. And that's the irritating part about it, because I've been saying this shit the whole fucking time.
2 fucking decades now, I've been saying that shit. And all of a sudden, everybody's like, oh yeah, Bush did it. We know that. No, you didn't, motherfucker. You told me I was crazy. Yeah. So that's how I feel about this too. I'm like, these people are not getting the right numbers out. What's scaring me the most right now is that Africa and South America doesn't have real reports. And ain't no telling if people are already sick there because there are no reports. And I read an article where somebody at the airport or the hospital in Africa was saying that they are in no way prepared to receive those many kinds of people who are sick. So that means that it could already be spreading.
They got enough stuff that they're dealing with already.
Bruh.
And you're gonna introduce this shit?
I don't know how that's gonna work. Like I can't understand it. And you know, and all these people who are like, oh, I'm fine, take me off the ship on the fucking the, what is it? I think it was called, not Diamond Princess is what it's called, the cruise ship. And I was like,
okay,
man. I was like, dude, everybody wants to get off, but y'all realize that every day there's over 100 people or 60 to 100 people that are getting diagnosed with this. I think that whole ship is going to be sick, to be honest. I'm pretty sure like they just need to keep an eye on everybody and try to get mild cases to recover and stuff, and really treat the like severe cases in hospitals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody's doing that either. And I think what makes it hard is if you're on that cruise ship, I guess because I saw it on the Japanese channel, I kept thinking it was a Japanese cruise ship. It's not. It's not. It's a foreign cruise ship. It's British.
Oh, British cruise ship.
Right.
That was in Japan?
Right, because it was a Asia tour. So there were some Japanese people on it, but it's mostly Canadians, Americans, and some other Asian people from other Asian countries. So it's just on the Japanese news because they're docked in Japan, because that's the last place they're at right now, and they haven't been able to move.
And Japan ain't having that.
No. And Okinawa just rejected one of the cruise lines, and that same cruise line got rejected in Thailand too. They have nowhere to go.
What?
Yeah,
so
they have to. They're just it's like a fucking movie out there right now. And then my friend posted something that Puerto Rico just took a cruise ship in, and it was like thousands and thousands of people. They didn't check for nothing. They just landed in Puerto Rico. Dude, do you know how close that is to us?
Yeah.
And do you know how many people go in and out of Puerto Rico every day between the U.S. and here?
It's free reign. You could just go. All you need is an ID card. Jump on a plane.
And so again, I come back to the Georgia Scrolls, Nostradamus, and all these other things. Like, I don't know. Should I read it? Should I read it real quick before we wrap it up? Okay. Yeah. Okay, guys. Bear with me. I know some of y'all think that we are crazy, but if you've stuck out this long and you on episode 30 something with us, you already know we're gonna say whatever we're gonna say.
You
so
already know.
I'm just gonna say it.
So you know what time it is, Raylo?
Not Raylo.
You already know.
Already know. So here's the thing. There's something called the Quatrains of Nostradamus, and it is like something he wrote. It's very hard to decipher even when it's translated, because Nostradamus used to write in 7 different languages when he wrote his like predictions or theories or whatever.
Hella vague too.
And they were very vague. He did that on
vague.
purpose because I think if he did see something or understood something, he wanted to get it out of his system, but he didn't want to like create worldwide panic year after year after year. Is my take on it. I feel like there's some things that he did say that was, you know, one of the biggest thing for me was like he said to bury him with this number engraved of the year that somebody was going to accidentally dig him up, and it happened. Shit like that. Like even from his grave. I don't remember the year, but he made them put a wooden sign on his body that was the year of when somebody would dig his fucking corpse up, and it was right. And it was like the craziest thing. Whenever I heard about the coronavirus and once it started spreading, I'm really surprised that nobody's talking about Nostradamus or Baba Vagan. Remember her?
Baba, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember her. Yeah.
Nobody's talking about them. So here's the thing, not to keep you guys waiting, but so there's a bunch of quatrains from Nostradamus, but 58 and 59 feel very recent. The reason I thought about Nostradamus is because I remember him saying something about the East rising, and I still haven't found that like particular paragraph, but I'm still searching for it. So when I find it, I'm gonna post it. But 58 and 59, you ready? Are you ready, D?
Ready. I'm ready.
Okay, 58. A kingdom divided by two quarreling brothers to take the arms in the name of Britain. The Anglican title will be advised to watch out. Surprised by night, the other is led to the French air. What does that sound like? Does that sound like Meghan Markle and fucking Prince Harry leaving?
The French air?
Going to Canada?
Canada.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. And that's like French.
Yeah.
It's still under British rule, right?
I mean, there's British Canada too, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know the like all the logistics up there because I haven't really studied.
Technically, like Canada, they're still under the hand of the Queen. That's why it's the Royal Canadian.
Oh, really?
Royal Canadian. Yes.
I did not know that. Thank you for educating. Yeah. I'm going to read up on it. So, the French air, I mean, they flew over to Canada. Maybe that's what French air means because, you know, like we said, Nostradamus. So, because he's not talking about France there. He said in the air. So, then flying. So, get this next part, though. Twice put up and twice cast down, the East will also weaken the West. Its adversary, after several battles, chased by the sea, will fail at the time of need. Does that sound like the coronavirus to you?
A little bit. Just a little bit. I could see.
And the twice put up and twice cast down is the EU. Up and down, twice and twice. So I'm not saying anything is like 100% obviously because he lived hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But I'm curious to see how this unfolds because number 58 sounds pretty legit. You know,
that gave me goosebumps.
It did, because here's the thing. I sent it to my friend who's into this stuff, and she was like, did you read 58? I was like, no, because I was thinking about the East one. So I was looking for 59 the whole time. That's what I was concentrating on. Same thing. I read 58 and got goosebumps from reading 58 because I was like, wait a minute. Like, what if this shit is like for real, though? Do you think this is how people felt throughout the centuries reading Nostradamus's books and shit?
I'm sure.
That was so quick. Decent. I'm sure.
I'm sure. I'm quite sure. But what did Baba have to say about this whole thing?
I haven't found anything on it yet because Baba Vagan creeps me out.
Yeah.
Like hardcore. First of all, I believe she was blind.
Yes, she was.
So she couldn't even see anything. So the fact that she could describe things that came in the future already freaks me out. It wasn't like she could see things like that. What is that? Like, that's like Stevie Wonder, like describing an airplane to you when he's never seen one.
Yeah, you see Stevie Wonder catch that mic stand about to fall?
I heard about that. What's that about?
He can see.
You think so? You
it's
think he's
Sam? I think it was just like a show, like, oh wow, look, he's blind, and it kind of.
Do you think it's just maybe like he's legally blind but not all the way blind?
Maybe.
I want to see that video. Somebody else was talking about that shit. Is it recent?
Yeah, it was fairly recent. But then there was that video when he got left on stage. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn on that.
What if the guy who caught the mic is not Stevie? Maybe what if he was replaced and he's already gone? You got so quiet.
Like, stop. I'm like, no, don't do that shit.
This is why people don't like conspiracy theorists because we be coming up. I mean. Listen, my brain works like Inception. That movie had me tripping out because I was like, this is literally how I think. Like that movie put into perspective the way my brain works, because I keep going behind things. I was like, so what if, because people be like, oh, he's maybe not blind. I was like, what if he's not him? That's not even him.
You gotta dig just a little deeper. If you dig just a little deeper, it's creepy, but at the same time, sometimes that shit's real. Have you watched Scandal? That's some bullshit. That's why I don't believe nothing at all.
I've never watched Scandal. Do they do shit like that all the time?
Yeah, but it's like government related and how they cover some shit up and create a whole other story to mask how some shit happens. Pretty much what happened. I
got told that we need to watch the Designated Survivor. It's literally about the government right now. It's on Netflix, she said. So I might have to go check it out. But I don't know. I would really like to see what everybody else thinks about all the stuff that's happening like in current events. I know our news angle is like crazy because we keep it short, like on every topic. We actually keep it short. Yeah. But I want to know, do you guys follow fucking conspiracy theories? Do you think it's stupid? Do you think we're out of control? I just want to know.
I want to know what you think and how those same conspiracy theories correlate to current events with the news. And
I'm just saying.
It really has. Let us know. Comments.
You know, so we gonna wrap it up, but seriously, if you guys love what you hear or think we're crazy enough that you enjoy us, just make sure you subscribe to our podcast platform on whatever you listen to. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button, comment below, and hit that notification, because that way you get all of our episodes. We drop our episodes. That's what I forgot on my last episode. We drop our episodes every Thursday at 12 noon Central. And then also on Monday is when our news angle drops at 9 a.m. So you have something to listen to while you're going to work, and you don't have to be sad about it. You can laugh with us or at us, whatever you choose to do. Anyway, on that note, be blessed. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later. Bye.